Hello everybody and welcome to the RF video series Reflections. Now it's not too often that I get to make this introduction. I get to introduce not only an Olympic gold medalist, but by what many fans consider the greatest professional wrestler that ever stepped foot in a ring. Kurt Angle, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. But I think Vince just saw dollar signs because he saw a guy that was the right size, the right look, was an Olympic gold medalist. He wanted to capitalize on the gold medal. He wanted me to capitalize on the gold medal. That was the first meeting I had with him. He talked to me for an hour about how I could become a rich man because of what I've done in the past and what he could do for me.
When you step foot in the WWE, when you're there and you're exposed to the business for the first time, being green to the business, did you look at the talent, not knowing them at the time, like that they were a little beneath you? Or did you walk in on an even playing field, taking it for what it was? Like from an athletic standpoint?
From an athletic standpoint, that's what got me intrigued. I started watching Raw in 1998, and I was seeing The Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker, Triple H. I was seeing these guys do tremendous things. They weren't just big, bulky guys that couldn't move. They were athletes. They were world-class athletes. That's what drew me in first. And then I went out there and I did it. I don't know how, but and that's where I think Vince said, okay, I think this guy's gonna make it.
If MMA was just as popular as it is now then, and you were given the same kind of WWE contract or an opportunity to go to UFC or MMA as it sits now as a company, do you still think you would have made the decision of wrestling, or would have been MMA?
It was a great offer by Dana, and I really appreciate it, but I felt like he was setting me up to fail. John is a badass. Stone Cold Steve Austin went 4 or 5 years on top before his body gave. My body gave within 6.5 years.
Right.
In WWE. The Rock was only there, 5 years before he went to the movies. But even Hulk Hogan, he had a good run, short spurts, but not like 13 years.
Right.
That's unreal.
And he seems to bounce back from surgery.
Yeah, John's an animal, and I have a lot of respect for what he's been able to do.
Sure.
He's all about raising eyebrows, and I thought I'm going to join in. All right, little man,
right.
Get your head out of Dana White's ass. Why? Because you never know, down the road there might be a possible Bound for Glory, a WrestleMania match against Conor McGregor. I was just trying to promote with him. I remember when I started, I had to buy T-shirts and autograph Polaroids or photos, and I would travel around clinic to clinic, do clinics, and this would interrupt with my training. I'd have to do a clinic all day to make $1,000. Then I'd probably sell another $1,500 in merchandise there, so that and it just, you had to keep working to get the money, the funds, and it wasn't just to fund you to live and train. It was to try to get as much money as you could so that you could contribute to your family to come watch you at the Olympic trials, at the Olympics, at the US Open. So it wasn't just about me, it was trying to get my family who could not afford to travel, to help them out financially. So it took a big piece of training away from you. So John du Pont said, don't worry about it, here
right.
you go. The thing is, Dave lost his life. So John's completely at fault, but we're all a little bit at fault. Dave stayed there so he could train wrestlers like me. I don't think he wanted to be there anymore, but he had an obligation to stay till the Olympics and then get the hell out of there. And unfortunately, it was 6 months too. So I didn't see anyone politicking against me. And the fact they could have very easily, because when I was wrestling my first year, I literally was letting other people call the matches for me, my opponent, and they were walking me through. And they were giving back a lot. I mean, it wasn't just me bumping around and getting my ass kicked.
Right.
It was 50-50, and they made sure of it. So I didn't see that. I learned a lot. The guys I learned the most from were probably Austin, Triple H, and The Rock was great, Undertaker, and Eddie and Chris. Those guys really stepped up for me, and they cared about me enough that they were going to make sure I succeeded, because
right.
I was clueless when I started. And eventually I was fine. By 2001, I was good. Eddie felt like he was being taken advantage of because he was so full of pain all the time.
Right.
The poor guy, he was in a car accident, I think, 2000, and it really messed him up. And I really wish I would have wrestled Eddie before that, because he, as great as he was when I wrestled him in WrestleMania 20, I can't imagine how good he was before 2000.
Who would you put on your level?
Nobody. Brock. I enjoyed working with Undertaker. He was very intense. But in his matches, always, especially my match with him in 2006 at No Way Out, man, you watch that match, it's really hard to top that.
There was something happened in the ring. Jim Ross got in big trouble over this.
And I didn't kill him. I didn't dominate him. It was a tight match, and there was this new kid. He was little green, good build, good-looking kid. His name was John Cena, and I was going to have his debut match, so they said blow his ass up. Nobody knew him, but he looked so damn good. He was such a good-looking guy. It was like, shit, man, this guy's gonna go over all our heads, you know, and he did. Right. So they were like, blow his ass up, embarrass him.
Right. Going into the WrestleMania match, you were pretty banged up. Is that true?
Yeah, I had to have neck surgery. So I called Vince. Without asking my doctor, I called Vince and said, listen, I'll do the Mania match. I'll have surgery afterward. I called Vince and said, get me back on TV any way you can. He said, I got you. I'm going to make you general manager of SmackDown. So at least I was playing a role on TV. Now, little did they know, they didn't know this, but I was pounding painkillers. Vince saw me unraveling. And like I said, this is my own fault. He saw me unraveling, and I think he felt that I was a liability. The reason I left WWE was I felt like I was a liability to Vince. I did regret the way I treated Vince. Yeah, the meeting got pretty heated, and I sent Vince a lot of threats, voicemails, text messages. Vince and I had a great relationship, and when I started the painkillers and unraveling, he started distancing himself. He was so mad, he got up, took his jacket off, and wanted to fight me.
Wow.
And they asked me what I wanted, and I told them. They went in another room. 30 seconds later, I came back and said, you got it. And I mean, it was huge money. Wow. It was huge money. Yeah.
So is there now, Jim Ross and the WWE office is still staying in touch with you. Now, did you communicate with them what you were doing?
I told Vince. Once I was revealed, I texted Vince and I apologized to him, and I told him I just wanted to make sure we were cool.
Any response?
No. No. And actually, you know what? Yes, there was a response. This is hilarious. It stated in the text, Dixie can handle anything. That's a fact. But it's, I think anybody would be overwhelmed. Especially when you have Sting and Kurt Angle, and your ratings are starting to go up, and you have Spike TV changing from 1 hour to 2 hours, and you're like, oh my God, we actually are legitimately, doing some stuff here,
right?
And getting ratings. It was for anybody, it would be overbearing. So I think Dixie's a tough lady. I don't think that she felt out of her element. I just think that she got way too much too fast.
Right. Do you feel that you have something unfinished in the WWE where you want to write your own ending?
Yeah.
The way it was left.
Yeah. I that's exactly why I contacted them.
Right.
Who's best of all time? AJ or Shawn Michaels? Well, what about you? Well, I don't include myself. Do I think I'm the greatest ever? Yes, I do.